Tonight on The Local Live, the town of Mamaroneck recognizes a local hero. The Community Resource Center honors 4 Mamaroneck women. LMC TV offers new classes for the community. On tonight's roundtable, we'll talk about the March for Our Lives in our area. Good evening. It's Thursday, March 29th. I'm Michael Witch. Welcome to The Local Live. Sergeant Alex Rapp is a Larchmont hero. On March 22nd, he received the Medal of Honor from Larchmont Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Let's find out why.
On the night of Saturday, February 24th, while attending a wedding on Long Island, Lieutenant Rapp noticed a crowd surrounding a female on the floor in obvious distress. Lieutenant Rapp rapidly made his way to the patient's side in hopes of rendering medical aid and quickly determined that a sudden cardiac arrest was sustained. Lieutenant Rapp immediately began to administer quality CPR, and within minutes and prior to the arrival of emergency services, the patient had a return of spontaneous circulation and began to regain consciousness. Due to Lieutenant Rapp's actions and proficient actions, a life was saved.
Mamaroneck Town Supervisor Nancy Seligson also recognized him for his bravery and his valor. The Community Resource Center celebrated their 20th anniversary with a new twist, a celebration of Women's History Month. In addition, they honored 4 contemporary Mamaroneck women, Manuela Solar, Ana Aragon, Martha Carballo, and Maria Jasmine Potes. The center's executive director, Gerandi Martinez, said this: "It is the first time we have had an event for women, and it's propitious to fulfill the launch of our celebration of the 20 years of trajectory helping the immigrant community." 800,000 students marched nationwide in support of school safety. Aurora Folks was at the Rye Neck March last Saturday. Here's her report.
Good afternoon, this is Aurora Folks, and today we're here in Mamaroneck, New York at the March for Our Lives event. Today there will be thousands of students, teachers, and activists all alike here for one unifying message: to end gun violence.
We've had enough! We've had enough! We've had enough! We've had enough! We've had enough!
We've had enough. 3 small words that held a huge meaning behind them and echoed among over 3,000 participants walking in Mamaroneck's March for Our Lives event. Students who would normally use this day off from school to relax instead marched in solidarity, leaving many older generations to reflect on this impactful day.
Over 3,000 people, kids and adults, coming here, on a Saturday afternoon is unheard of. Maybe the youth of today can accomplish what maybe the older generations have not been able to.
Former anti-Vietnam War marcher Joyce Bermel found herself inspired by the magnitude of the event and taken back to her days in activism.
Last time I marched was against the Vietnam War, and I think this is the largest march and the most energetic that I have seen since then. I see a lot of parallels between those generations.
Equally impacted by the meaning behind the day's march was Kate Kitchen, a 15-year-old who had a lot to say when it came to school safety and gun control.
I feel people shouldn't have to be scared to go to school every morning. When I wake up, I shouldn't have to think, what would I do if someone comes into my school and wants to shoot me?
Following a string of school shootings, most recently involving the killing of 2 students by 17-year-old Austin Rawlings at Great Mills High School in Maryland, companies such as Walmart and Kroger have raised the ammo and gun purchasing age to 21. In response, some students say this is not enough.
Definitely needs to be done. Common sense gun laws are something that really needs to change. After Parkland, after Sandy Hook, people were like, we're going to change, it's not going to happen again, and it does. And something really does need to be done, something that involves not just New York State, not just the East Coast, something that involves everyone.
Other activists like Danny feel change should also involve investing in mental health and emotional well-being.
Republicans really think that this is a mental health issue. Why don't we put more money either into the school systems instead of taking money out of it, and just put more money into healthcare and improving mental health and securing the health of us.
This has just been an outstanding turnout here at the March for Our Lives event, with many turning out to speak up and really raise their voice for a better cause. This has been Aurora Folks reporting for the Local Live.
As Aurora mentioned, the march drew over 3,000 protesters in our community. Next, we'll have the local leaders and the organizers of the march at our roundtable discussion. Welcome to our roundtable. For sure, the students provided the inspiration and the commitment to change for the March for Our Lives, but they had some help. They were not alone. Tonight we have with us 4 adults who helped to organize the event, and we're going to talk to them. And as always, we'd like to hear your comments and give you a chance to ask some questions of them. Our phone number and email address will be on the screen from time to time. And as we're talking, you're going to be seeing some video and some photos that were taken around the country, specifically in our area. And we'd like to thank Jim Desmond for contributing his media to our event. So I'd like to introduce our panel, actually let them introduce. Kristen, I'd like to start with you.
Sure. I'm Kristen Lemkaw. My kids are 9 and 11. They go to the Rhinebeck schools, and I was one of a tribe of about 15 moms that helped get the March for Our Lives in Rhinebeck going.
Thank you. Barry?
I'm Barry Graubart. I'm the co-lead of the Westchester Local Group for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. I've got a daughter, Katie, who's a first-year student at Skidmore College.
Jose?
Jose Zelstra, mom in the Rhinebeck community, 3 boys, age 7, 10, and 12, and worked with Kristen to organize the March for Our Lives in the Rhinebeck community.
And last, a gentleman who needs no introduction, but I'll ask him to anyway.
How you doing? I'm Tom Murphy. I'm the mayor of the Village of Mamaroneck. I have a junior in Mamaroneck High School and 2 kids who have graduated from Mamaroneck High School. The Village of Mamaroneck was happy to provide some of the support and logistics for this wonderful event.
You were there, were you not?
I did march, yes.
What's a couple of words that describe the experience for you?
It was inspirational, and it was hopeful.
And the count was a little bit less than the 3,000 that we announced earlier, but still a sizable turnout for a community like ours. Were you surprised at that turnout, Kristen?
You know, we hoped, but when we first planned this, we thought maybe we get a few hundred people. We thought, gosh, we hope we get about 500. So we were floored that we got as many people as we did. Even at 1,600, that's more students than are enrolled in the entire Rhinebeck school system. So when you looked around, I don't know that I remember anything that big happening in this town, at least not like that, where it was every family who I knew, every student who I knew showing up and really excited to be a part of it.
And the signs that they carried were apropos. Was there an activity that led up to the march where people were making signs, or was it just done in each household?
There was. Each of the moms held a meeting every weekend, and then we did a couple of calls. So the first meeting was at my house, and Jose was there, and we had our kids downstairs making signs. And when you saw the signs, it really shows why we need to march. And even the fact that we're making kids march for their lives is warped in and of itself. But there was a sign, I think it was your son, who wrote, I just want to be safe in school. And another 3rd grader wrote, don't shoot. And another kid wrote, protect our kids. And you think, these are the kids that have grown up with lockdown drills. I mean, most of them were in preschool when Newtown happened. They've known no other way of life. And it's heartbreaking and hopefully hopeful, as the mayor said.
Were you surprised at all by the number of people who were involved?
Completely. Yeah. Like Kristen said, we thought we were going to get a couple hundred people. We started with a very small, fierce group of moms who really wanted to do something. Yeah. And it just kind of grew, and through social media and we put a lot of signs out, around the march and the date and the time. Flyers, and before you knew it, there were, we thought, we're going to get 400 or 500 people. And when I showed up, I went to the city first to look at the march, and when I showed up and saw just the number of families out, and it was a beautiful day, but they just kept on coming and coming. And we started in one school, at the high school and middle school, and then walked to the lower school, and then the elementary school, and then we ended up in Florence Park. where we all gathered around and heard from both moms as well as some of the kids.
So
Very powerful.
Did you have help from like a national organization like Moms Demand Action?
We signed up on the Everytown page. We signed up for our march, but we had gotten going on Facebook before that. We participated with it, but it was really a locally led effort. It was moms and kids posting up lawn signs and putting flyers up in every restaurant we go to. It helps to be a bad cook when you're asking permission to put up flyers. I'm like restaurant royalty in this town.
Barry, there were other marches in White Plains. There were thousands.
9,000 or so.
And around the county?
So there were others in the county. Nationwide, so Moms Demand Action partnered with the students here. What we did is we wanted the students to organize, but we knew that there was some, it always takes a little cash. So we ended up, there were 834 marches worldwide, I believe, that submitted on our site. We provided grants of up to $5,000 for each march, so that helped with a lot of the orchestration. But we ended up partnering, I did a lot of work with the White Plains team, and that was fully student run. I think the thing I did more than anything else in the month leading up to the march was tell well-meaning adults, I'm thrilled that you have great ideas, I don't care. The students have their committees, they're organizing, they ran with it. I will give, for those in the White Plains March, Kelly Marks, who's a White Plains High School senior, sort of organized it and pulled together a team. They did an amazing job. That was what inspired us more than anything, I think.
So this was very much a student moment, a student movement, and the adults helped out.
Yeah, we took a back seat. Someone asked, shouldn't we media train the students? I said, are you crazy? Are you listening to them? We don't need to do this at all. They're really, our job was to amplify their voice and get out of the way.
As a matter of fact, I read a quote from, in the New York Times. The woman who founded Moms was quoted as saying, we want to give them the biggest megaphone that we can.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what happened.
Yep.
All right. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about, even though what's in the headlines these days are the mass shootings, gun violence is more than that. Yes? Okay. We'll be right back after this. We're back with our roundtable discussion about March for Our Lives. As you know, in Rye Neck, just on the 24th, it attracted almost 2,000 people, as we have heard, and we're with some of the adult organizers who helped the students, inspired by the students, but helped them. And we've got an email question came in on the break. What can the local government do? This might be appropriate for you, Tom. What can the local government do to aid the change students are asking for, whether it's gun law restrictions or armed presence in schools?
Well, I think that the local government doesn't have a lot of statutory authority in restricting guns. We provide police protection as the schools ask for. We can't force ourselves upon the schools. But we react very quickly, and I have every faith in our police department during an emergency. But what we have to provide is prevention. The police are a response. If we're not getting the guns out of the hands of people who shouldn't have guns, then we're just putting Band-Aids on the real problem. And I think what elected officials have to do is advocate and be open about their position on guns. And I think that before you vote for anybody, for school board, for a village board, for town board, for state government or federal government, you should know their position on guns. And if they're not willing to tell you, then that's an indicator of what their position is.
What about applying pressure to higher up in the government, at the state level, for instance?
Yeah, I think that's an important task of local government. I think higher elected officials, sometimes it's actually an inverse of what you would think. Higher elected officials depend on the lower elected officials to help them get elected, to get their people out. So you do have some say if you actually use it. I would not help or support anybody who wasn't an advocate of not taking all guns away and restrict, but of gun control, sensible gun control that a lot of the kids are advocating, and Moms Demand Action are advocating. And I'm sorry.
Now, as a politician, do you think that the next vote is going to be a one-issue vote?
No, but I think that it'll be part of the game is, where do you stand on this? And I think that generation of kids, that's going to be their issue. And as a father and as an elected official and as an American, what happened in Newtown and that we didn't do anything, we did absolutely nothing after that, was the biggest, thing I'm ashamed of about, being in government, is that we let those children get murdered and slaughtered and we didn't do anything to prevent it from happening again.
Tom, can you talk a little bit about gun violence outside of these horrible mass killings?
Sure, thanks, Mike. The mass shootings obviously get the media attention, and in this case, they've really gotten, communities up in arms and moving. But every single day in America, 96 people on average die of gun violence, and most of that is, 60% of it are suicides, and that's the easy access to guns. And you look at it, LGBTQ teens are 4 times as likely to commit suicide as their cis peers, right? So you can't, I got into this movement in part because a year after I graduated college, a classmate of mine who had lost his job and was, feeling a little depressed, reached into his father's desk drawer and took out a gun and took his own life. It's that easy access that really impacts people. The second biggest cause here is domestic violence. And we know that if there's a gun present in the home, a woman is 5 times as likely to die from a domestic violence incident. So there are, and as the mayor said, there are things the state can be doing. There's a bill that has passed the state assembly called ERPO, the Extreme Risk Protection Order, which would empower, it's a red flag bill. We keep hearing about the red flags in Parkland, but it empowers law enforcement or family members to to petition the court to have a gun removed from someone who's a risk to themselves or others. That bill has to pass. The Assembly has passed it. The governor supports it. Right now, the state Senate refuses to act on it. Those are the bills we need to really save lives.
So how do our viewers supply that pressure? How do they get involved?
Sure. So 2 things. If you're a student, the first thing I would ask is we have launched, it was actually soft launch because it was supposed to launch in Q2, was accelerated a bit by Parkland, but a group called Students Demand Action, which will be a sister organization, but it'll be student-driven, student-run, and that's middle school, high school, college, and you can just text the word students to 64433. To join, and it'll prompt you with a form. For those who aren't students, adults and others, you can just text the word READY, R-E-A-D-Y, to 64433 and join Moms Demand Action. We have been growing leaps and bounds in Westchester. We have lots of opportunities for volunteers who want to get involved in legislation, in elections, in community outreach, and working with communities that are more impacted. We all think that, every community is impacted by gun violence. When you look at domestic violence, when you look at suicide, but we know some communities are greater impacted, and we're working to reach out to those communities and support what's working in there.
And Mike, this is where I think people really need to understand the data. Most people who own a gun in their home think they're doing so to protect their family. And they should know a gun in the home is 20 times more likely to be used against you than it is in any situation of self-defense. And these family fire killings are the ones that don't necessarily get the media cycle. I always ask before my kids go out over on a play date, I ask if there's an unlocked firearm in the home because I know they're more likely to be harmed by that than they are a swimming pool or the other things that we worry about.
But of course, what the media report is the often shrill voice of the NRA, that if you attempt any kind of gun regulation, you're anti-Second Amendment, and you're going to take all the guns away.
It's a lie.
For 200 years, the court has interpreted the Second Amendment to be something that is not without limits. Even Justice Scalia, who was no progressive on the court, said in the 2008 decision that this is not without limits. You can place limits. I would ask, who really wants, do you want domestic abusers to have guns? 95% of NRA members say no. The other 5% I'd worry about, are they the abusers? You really need, background checks. Why should people be able to go and buy a gun without following the rules if they buy based on where they buy it? Could you, drive a car without a license because you bought it from a different dealer? So these are common sense. Again, we're not for gun control. We're for common sense gun laws. and most of America, NRA members are not. The gun lobby is who the NRA represents. They're not representing American gun owners.
At this, we're going to pause again, and when we come back, what's next? What can you do besides texting, as Barry mentioned? There's a forum coming up, a candidates forum in New Rochelle. We'll tell you about it. We'll be right back. We're back with our roundtable, and we're talking about the March for Our Lives, and we've got some panelists here who helped the students to organize for that march, parents and a national organizer and the mayor of the Village of Mamaroneck. Who was there?
I was happy to be there, but it was all the children. It was an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah. So what's next? Tell us about that forum.
So speaking of the students, there is a group forming called Westchester Students Coalition Against Gun Violence, and that's you can find them on Twitter at WSCAGV, Westchester Student Coalition Against Gun Violence, and they're working to put together a candidate forum. As many of you know, we have a special election coming up for Senate District 37. Which was vacated when George Latimer became county executive. So they've invited Shelley Mayer and Julie Killian to a forum, not a debate, it's a candidate forum where students will ask questions. So that group, if you follow them on Twitter, they'll let you know how to get involved in that, but they're looking for volunteers right now to fill out a bunch of teams, and they're looking for all students across Westchester to participate at the event, which is at Trinity St. Paul Church in New Rochelle. To come to that on April 9th at 7 p.m. Come to it and bring your questions, and they'll be accepting questions in advance via social media. But it's a great, as Tom Murphy said, get the candidates on record, ask them tough questions, get their positions out there, find out what they're going to do. Again, the Senate, this is a Senate race. We can't get ERPO passed because of the Senate. Let's find out where they stand.
Yeah. Yosei and Kristen, you've got a new Facebook group, have you not? I believe it's called Rhinebeck for Sensible and Safe Gun Policy.
Yes, we linked their page with our March for Our Lives page, so this can become an ongoing fight for kids' lives, not just a one-day march.
So what are the next steps in this fight?
Well, I think what's important is, and what I think has lacked in the past is that something like this, like a mass shooting, is newsworthy, and people talk about it for a few days, maybe a week, maximum 2 weeks, and then they're on to another issue. And I think through some of the work that you're doing and also the Facebook, we need to keep this issue alive. We need to keep it in front and center. We don't want to get on another topic and forget about it. We all have busy lives, but as long as we have to keep the conversation going through social media and through partnering with organizations, I think this issue can stay alive, outside of just the voting, which is of course very important.
A viewer who was thinking along those very same lines asked a question: how do you plan on keeping the momentum moving forward after the national news cycle changes? And as you say, there are strategies. So what can people in Rhinebeck, Mamaroneck, Larchmont do? Join the Facebook group?
I would join the Facebook group. I would say vote, 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 vote. And the mayor's right, this has to become an issue that people will vote on, not just students, but the parents of students as well. Do not contribute money, do not vote for a candidate that does not articulate a common sense gun safety policy, and this needs to become a pivotal issue, and it's starting to. It used to be your NRA rating was a badge. That's changing, and it's changed in several state elections, it changed in Virginia, and hopefully that continues to be something that...
And even Florida, which
exactly.
They've got the... what's that law where you can carry?
Concealed carry.
Stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
That one.
They've got some new gun legislation.
And I think corporations are getting behind this as well. And I think that's really key, because when you look at Dick's and Walmart and Delta Airlines, I think they've had enough, and they're not giving any special concessions anymore.
Starbucks.
And that's, I think, one of the
Starbucks
one of the
has
ways.
done that in communities where you're allowed to carry. They say, please don't carry here. We saw in Texas, where they put in their open carry law, and there was a group of volunteers from Moms Demand who went around. The law said if you don't want someone to carry on your premises, you need to post this language. And it was like this 1,000-word long thing, right? Because I didn't want people to do it. There was a group of Moms Demand volunteers who put together a graphic design sign that had all the language, but still looked pretty. They made thousands of copies, and they went store to store to store. There was a blog post from the NRA blog from Texas saying open carry or concealed carry in Texas is a failure, and they attributed it to all the stores that were preventing it. So we can put commercial pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything we've left out that needs to be emphasized, announced, proclaimed?
No, I think one of the most inspiring things that came out of the March for Our Lives was kids really learned they have a voice and their voice matters. And whether it's this issue or any issue, them learning to stand up for themselves and speak up for themselves will be maybe the most lasting thing that comes out of it.
And how amazingly articulate and poised those children were.
Unbelievable.
On every level.
I have a lot of faith in the next generation. So that just, just from the students in Parkland and some of the kids that we saw, I just feel like the future is theirs and we need to support that.
There was a letter to the New York Times I found when I was studying up for this, and the letter writer, if I can quote her a little bit, said, "Children will lead us. It's their movement, their moment, their future. They will show us how to come together, to be inclusive, to fight for change. They will vote, they will run, they will lead." And she ended her letter by saying America is in good hands.
It's said you see some of the supporters of the NRA trying to demonize these children, and just with false accusations and memes that were, it shows you, what they'll do. They're willing to attack children who are just exercising their First Amendment rights to keep the money flowing to the NRA.
I think that maybe that's a sign that they've run out of arguments.
They're desperate.
That it's a sign of desperation.
And we saw Laura,
if you're making fun of kids whose friends were murdered in front of them, you're losing.
Yeah, we saw Laura Ingraham today sort of after her attacking one of the teens from Parkland, backed off suddenly saying, in the spirit of religion, I think the religion she got was several advertisers agreed not to run ads on her show because of this. So again, it's
David Hogg's post.
It's putting all that pressure on. And just
that's her main religion, is the advertisers.
Exactly. And I will just echo what others have said about we put together our 5-point really subtle plan named "Throw Them Out," and it's step one is make sure you become a single issue voter, and it doesn't mean you ignore all the other votes. But in the past, I think many people on this side of the aisle have potentially said, we'll forgive the gun vote if you're good on these others. You can't. It has to be one of the key issues. The second thing is follow the money, the NRA money, get your friends to vote, put the candidates on the record, and if you can't find a candidate who's going to back your opinions, run for office. We have over 400 Moms Demand Action volunteers around the country running for office this year who are on the ballot already. So.
What about donating to organizations, candidates?
I think it's. I would say right now, focus on the candidates. Work on local elections. There's a lot. Again, Senate District 37. There's an election going on right now. I'm sure either candidate would appreciate your money. So go find where they stand on the issues that matter to you, and support them. We will have a lot of elections in November. Right now, Congress until November will not move on these issues. We've seen that. The action is in the state houses, and there's a big opportunity to influence it with the special election, which could tip the balance in the state Senate.
With that, we've got to wrap up tonight's discussion. I thank you so much for coming and talking, and you're welcome to come back again, and we can address this issue and give more information to the community that wants to get involved and see the kind of change that kids want. And don't go away. We'll be right back with more of The Local Live.
I'm a reporter, I'm a producer, I'm a writer.
I am a news anchor, I am a producer.
I am a news editor.
I am the technical director.
I am a reporter, I am an anchor.
I volunteer for The Local Live because I'm a proud resident of Larchmont and Mamaroneck, and I like to give back to the community.
I volunteer for The Local Live because I believe in bringing the news into your living room.
I volunteer for The Local Live because I believe in leadership, support, and success in a community.
I volunteer at The Local Live because it's a fun learning experience, and I know each week I come, I can learn something new.
I volunteer for The Local Live because I believe in community television.
As a spring intern at the local Live, I learned new skills like video, editing, and production, and furthered my skills as a writer. The internship gave me confidence as I embarked on my journey through the world of journalism.
We are the local Live.
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 Last week, we showed you a little bit of our journey into a new headquarters at the Mamaroneck Town Center. We've got more space than before, and our mission is a media center bringing you more resources to the community. Starting April 7th, we'll be offering new classes for LMC TV members. Some of the classes are technical directing, starting on Saturday, April 7th at 10:30 in the morning. Screenwriting on Monday, April 9th at 7 p.m. Smartphone photography, Tuesday, April 17th at 7 in the evening. Reporters Boot Camp on Monday, April 23rd at 7 in the evening. And editing your footage on Tuesday, April 24th at 4:30 p.m. And Talk TV, a producer's guide, on Saturday, April 21st at 10. Chief Operating Officer Matt Sullivan and programmer and photographer Stefan Aloisa tell us more about their upcoming classes.
I invite you to our Amazon Story Writer class that we're going to be holding here at the LMC TV headquarters at the Town Center. The class will be on Monday, April 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. and you will learn a little bit about screenwriting using Amazon Story Writer.
Unlock the power of your smartphone and learn to capture better images. Use basic photo editing techniques and store all of your important memories on the cloud.
More information about those classes will be posted on lmctv.org, and we'd love you to register fast because these will be small group classes and they'll probably fill up quickly.
Did you know you can watch LMC TV anywhere? Yes, even there. Go to lmctv.org and scroll down the main page. Choose your channel and click Watch Now, then press play. You can watch whatever's live on our channel wherever you are. Want to watch a specific show on demand? Go to Videos, click on Category, or Shows to list by title, or by keyword in the search bar at the top right of the page. It's all a click away at lmctv.org.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Scriptly Live. I'm Kyode, your host.
Hey guys, I'm Kate.
You're all right, Kate?
Yeah, you're right.
I said I wasn't going to cry, all right?
I know, but anyway, I'm fine.
Anyway.
Let's jump into what we're covering today. Kyode, what do you got for me?
Well, guys, we're a little late to the party, but we have to talk about NBC's hit drama, This Is Us. Take a look at this cast. Milo Ventimiglia, Mandy Moore, yeah, thank you, Chrissy Metz, Justin Hartley, and my wife's favorite, Sterling K. Brown.
This show has a lot of great qualities about it. The acting is quite good, ranging from seasoned vets like Milo Ventimiglia, who was on Gilmore Girls and Heroes.
Awesome show, by the way.
To newcomer Chrissy Metz. They bring to life the characters and really enable you to get to know them. My favorite, though, is Sterling K. Brown. He is not only super dynamic in his role, but has won a Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actor in a television series drama. Say that 3 times.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
But what's your favorite part of the show?
I have to say my favorite part of the show is the writing and how the writers are able to tell the story using flashbacks to develop the plot in present day. I think that's a pretty good angle.
Absolutely.
They do.
It's like really seamless.
Right? This also gives us the chance to see who these characters are and what their relationship is to each other. What about you?
No, for sure. I mean, I totally agree with you. The writing is phenomenal. It is so seamless, like I said. It flows like expertly and fluidly. It just ties everything together. And I have to say, it definitely does not compare to Parenthood, though, which is one of my favorite shows, bar none.
That might be debatable. That might be debatable.
Watch both. And I had not cried until this scene. Check it out.
Baby, I don't know if I can keep doing this without you anymore. And I'm really not sure that I want to. God, I miss being with you.
What was that about?
Man.
Like, Gerald, you broke my heart, man.
Well, y'all, this is enough for this episode for Scriptly Live. Thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't plugged into This Is Us yet, make sure to do so. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and stay tuned for new episodes of Blaxploit and Chick Flick coming soon.
Take care, guys.
Later, guys.
And now it's time for Pet Rescue's Pet of the Week. Charlie would do well in a home with other cats, but he wouldn't be happy with dogs. He's a 6-year-old purebred Cornish Rex, a breed sometimes referred to as the greyhound of the cats because of their sleek appearance and galloping run. Bring this unique feline home with you today. Dawson is a very shy 2-year-old lab mix. This timid pup transforms into an energetic playmate with other dogs. You can see him frolicking with his bunkmate Cece. If you want a playful companion, Dawson is the sweet boy for you. And remember, we're always looking for new volunteers and interns to help us produce this newscast, and we love hearing from our viewers. Send email, comments, and inquiries to thelocallive@lmctv.org. Our entire production team thanks you for watching. I'm Mike Witch. Until next week, good night.